Indy Mogul.
This week on Indy News, a former Indy Mogul host raises $80,000 on Kickstarter, we learn how to build a DIY helmet cam, the Indy Machines give us a behind-the-scenes look, I ask, is a 48-hour film contest a good idea or a waste of money? And I share tips like the rule of thirds and the building blocks of documentary filmmaking. Hey Indy Mogulers, Griffin here. Last week, during my iPhone videography episode, I featured a lot of clever inventions from Kickstarter.com. Not only is Kickstarter a great place for filmmakers to discover new technology, but it can also be an effective way to pay for your projects. This year, 10% of the films at Sundance and South by Southwest were crowdfunded through Kickstarter.com. And now, former Backyard Effects host Zach Finfrock is using Kickstarter to fund Season 2 of his web series, Fallout Nuka Break. He needs $60,000 to pay for production, and he has 60 days to reach his goal. Incredibly, with more than a month left, he's already blown past that goal.
We want to go even bigger with this second season. We want more actors, we want more locations, we want more special effects and visual effects.
It just goes to show, if you build a devoted fan base, the tools now exist for them to help you pay for your exciting projects. This week in DIY, YouTube user Dakakin shows us how to build a helmet cam similar to the one Freddie W uses to achieve point-of-view shots. It's a good-looking design, complete with a counterweight. Plus, it's one of the coolest build videos I've ever seen. Last week, I shared the Indy Machines Avengers-themed 5-word film, and on Thursday, they released a behind-the-scenes video. If you want to learn how they planned their shoot, filmed safely in a moving car, and accomplished their special effects, it's definitely worth watching, and it's in today's playlist. If you're a fan of the Indy Machines and their 5-word films, how would you like to make your own? Right now they're working on a new one called All Hail the Glorious Coffee, and they want you to make your own version to compete against them and other filmmakers on filmfights.com. If you have an idea, you still have 6 days to submit your own film. If you're looking for a bigger film contest, the 48-hour Guerrilla Film Challenge starts this weekend, where filmmakers across the world will draw a random genre and line of dialogue and have 2 days to write, shoot, and edit a short film. The best video will win $5,000. I think tight deadlines like this can be a fun exercise that leads to really creative and exciting results. But I don't know about contests like this. I mean, it costs $125 to enter. And there's plenty of free contests that have $5,000 prizes and probably don't draw as many contestants. So let me know in the comments, do you think the Guerrilla Film Challenge is a complete ripoff, or is it a worthwhile creative exercise? I've realized I don't feature a lot of documentary-style content on this show, even though my favorite films are documentaries, and most of the freelance work I do is shot in a documentary style. Moguler Cruce Grammatico encouraged me to talk more about documentary filmmaking, so today I'll cover the basic building blocks of news and documentary-style shooting. I learned how to shoot news stories in college, and those skills have been very helpful. Everything I shoot professionally has some documentary-style element to it, so it's important to understand the building blocks, how to shoot good interviews, good B-roll, and good nat sound breaks. Interviews are also called sound bites, SOTs, and talking heads. The interview subject should look just off camera. Why? It's part of the visual grammar. Just like most of us agree that a period signals the end of a sentence, there are rules that filmmakers and audiences agree on. For example, in a film, a dissolve usually means time has passed. Likewise, when a reporter looks at the camera, it's like saying, I'm the author of this story, the narrator. But when someone looks off camera, it's like quotation marks. This soundbite is a quote in my story. Of course, rules can be broken if you know the rule and why you're breaking it. Here are some tips for interview shots. Put the camera at the same height as the person's head. You don't want to be looking up or down at the person. Choose a decent background. I find that deep backgrounds with movement are a lot more interesting than a wall. Finally, a classic interview shot should have an appropriate amount of look room and headroom. There should be more space in the direction that the subject is looking, and if the shot is wide enough, there should be some space above the head, but not too much. The best guide to this framing is the rule of thirds. Divide your shot into 3 horizontal and vertical sections. Many cameras have these guidelines. And I usually place the eye that's closest to the camera on this intersection. This rule works well on medium shots and close-ups, always providing the right amount of spacing. Interviews are the foundation of doc-style shooting, so that's where I start my editing. And if it's unscripted, then, if it's unscripted, then you'll have a lot to cut out. This is where B-roll comes in handy. If interviews are your primary or A material, then your secondary or B shots roll on top of it. Also called cutaways, these shots let us hide our edits. So whatever the story, you need to make sure you shoot lots of related B-roll. My best advice is you'll need lots of shots to choose from, so wherever you place your tripod, try to get a wide shot, a medium shot, and a close-up, and then pan to a new angle and shoot some more. Finally, don't forget about nat sound breaks. Nat sound, or natural sound, also called wild sound, is the ambient, real audio that you capture in an environment. When possible, you want to include a low level of nat sound with your B-roll because it brings the shot to life. A nat sound break is when you take a break from the interview or voiceover and turn up the nat sound. Let the audience feel the scene. So if you practice good interviews, B-roll, and nat sound breaks, you can tell almost any story this way. Even if you aren't shooting a documentary, you'll find these principles apply to lots of different video styles. On today's playlist, I have Dakakin's helmet cam tutorial, the Indy Machine's behind the scenes look, and the promo video for the 48-hour Guerrilla Film Challenge, in case you want to learn more about that. Thanks for watching, and especially thank you to everyone who left feedback on Russell's new show, Friday 101. It's your comments that help us develop new shows and exciting content on Indie Mogul. Speaking of exciting content, in 2 weeks I'm thinking of doing a live version of this show. So let me know in the comments, do you think I can pull it off? What time would you watch a live show? And what would you like to see on the program? Thanks for your help.